With the quarterfinals in the books and next week's 2-hour Cruiserweight Classic live special on the WWE Network, who advanced to the semifinals and who is being set up to be crowned the first ever winner of the Cruiserweight Classic. Let's talk about it. What is going on, guys? JD from New York here. Thank you so much for tuning back into the channel. What I got for you guys tonight is the quarterfinals of the Cruiserweight Classic and NXT review and results for September 7th, 2016. I'm quite surprised, man. I really am a little bit shocked that the Cruiserweight Classic next week is over. It's all over next week, man. I figured going into next week they were going to give us the semifinals, just like they did the quarterfinals each of the last 2 weeks. We were going to get 2 matches next week to round out the semifinals, and then the week after we were going to get the live special with maybe 1 match to crown a Cruiserweight Classic tournament winner, and maybe some mixture of NXT talent as well on the live special. They announced it tonight, or at least Corey Graves did. Next week is a 2-hour live special. We're going to see both semifinal matches, and we're going to get the finals, and we're going to get Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano in a tag team match in hopes that they get a rematch against the Revival per William Regal. So, next week is shaping up to be a massive fucking episode for the Cruiserweight Classic, and I honestly can't wait, man. The one thing that I'm concerned about is what are we going to do on Wednesday nights? What are we going to do on Wednesday nights? You guys got your Lucha Underground. All I got is NXT, man. All I got is NXT. I might, not making any promises. If I can stream it through my Xbox or my PlayStation and I can watch it on the comfort of my couch next week, I might get involved with some Lucha Underground. I'm not sure yet. I got to see what's going on with that because I'm going to need something to fill this void that the Cruiserweight Classic has done so well on Wednesday nights, man. They gave me something to look forward to on Wednesday nights. NXT right now and how they're operating is just not going to be enough, man. I need my Cruiserweight Classic. I might have to fill that with some Lucha Underground. But next week is the live special from Full Sail. 2 hours. Can't wait to see what happens. We got the 4 remaining competitors in this Cruiserweight Classic. We're going to go over all that. But we're going to talk about NXT first because, again, it was I wouldn't say it was a lazy show. It was more of the wheels are in motion type show. They are building talent that they have on the roster right now for NXT to be propelled to that next level. We see the likes of Ember Moon. We see the likes of Nakamura getting some wins under his belt as NXT champion. We see the struggle that Gargano and Ciampa are going through after they got beat down by the Revival. We got Samoa Joe coming out, unlike Samoa Joe tonight, sitting next to Phillips and Graves, and he was pretty much just upset at the fact that he's, number one, out of action, and number 2, he's no longer the NXT champion. So it was a Samoa Joe unlike we've seen before in recent memory, especially on NXT television. He was just very quiet, very humbled, and he was downright depressed that Nakamura was the champion and he was looking on from the announce booth, and there's nothing he can do about it but rehabilitate and recover after breaking his jaw at Brooklyn. So it was one of those episodes where we got a glimpse of talent that's going to be featured, and like I said, Nakamura getting a win under his belt as NXT champion. We got Gargano and Ciampa staking claim that they do want the Revival in a rematch. Ember Moon had a match tonight. We're going to go over this very, very quickly because it was a very, I wouldn't say lackluster show. Like I said, it's the best way I can put it is it's a wheels in motion show as we build towards NXT TakeOver Toronto. Can't fucking wait, man. In October, you guys in Canada are going to tear the fucking house down, and I can't wait to see what's going on with that. Opening match scene, TM61 versus my boy Tony Nese and Ariya Daivari, 2 men who were in the Cruiserweight Classic. Tony Nese I thought would go further than he did, but he did not. Tony Nese and Daivari making their NXT television debuts here against TM61, the upstart team of TM61. And obviously TM61, the more stable team on NXT television, gets the win. The Thunder Valley to Daivari at 10 minutes and 30 seconds. And I love Tony Nese, man. I hope Tony Nese is signed to Monday Night Raw. He's got a great look. He's athletic as fuck. Daivari, you know, I really enjoyed Daivari in the first round of the Cruiserweight Classic. I thought he was actually going to go on to win. He played a very, very good heel in his match in the first round, but they didn't give it to him, and he ended up on the short end of the stick there. But Tony Nese, I thought, was really going to go on and advance the way that they portrayed him and just the way that he came off. But Tony Nese also, you know, fell short in the Cruiserweight Classic. Like I said, I do hope to see him on Monday Night Raw. But in this match, it was a very, very competitive match, and they brought TM61 as a unit pretty much to the brink here. And TM61 pulled out the victory at 10 minutes and 30 seconds with their finisher, the Thunder Valley, for the victory on NXT television. Asuka was interviewed by Phillips in the back, and this was painful to get through, man. You know, I love me some Asuka. I really do. Her English is terrible. And it was honestly, and I don't want to say this for the women competitors of NXT, and this is probably one of the few times you're going to hear it out of my mouth, this was actually cringeworthy. I had to turn my head. If there's anybody that makes it to the main roster and is going to need a spokesman, Asuka would be perfect to be the first ever Paul Heyman female under his tutelage, man. Someone like Asuka is going to need a manager. Someone like Asuka is going to need a interpreter, for sure. You know, obviously she's more comfortable speaking her own language. It is very difficult to sit and listen to Asuka speak English. It takes her a very, very long time to comprehend what Phillips was saying, and it takes her even longer time to get out what she says. And when she tries to answer the question the best that she can, it really doesn't make all that much sense. Really, really difficult to get through this. Not taking anything away from the woman. She's absolutely brilliant at what she does. She's undefeated. She's your NXT Women's Champion. But as far as a promo goes, she's definitely going to need some type of spokesman or manager when she makes the main roster, man. I don't know how that's going to fly on Monday Night Raw, but I don't think that's going to be looking too good if she actually advances to Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. I wouldn't have her say anything at all. I'd just have her go on there and just beat the shit out of every woman that she lays eyes upon. But, you know, these sit-down segments with Asuka and then obviously Nakamura, who speaks a little bit better English than Asuka does, not really doing them all that much good. I didn't mind Nakamura last week when he was in the ring, when he came out as the NXT champion for the first time to embrace the Full Sail crowd. He was very good at what he did there, but still, you can see that it's not his first language. He would choose to speak his own language. Same thing with Asuka. One of the few times, like I said, I will mention something of the NXT brand being cringeworthy. This was the closest thing to cringe that the NXT brand has showcased to me and to the NXT universe. Steve Cutler wants to know why Shinsuke Nakamura, or what Shinsuke Nakamura has sacrificed to get here into NXT and become the WWE NXT champion. Cutler has sacrificed 4 years of his life to get this opportunity. People will respect him. Cutler, let me tell you something. Nobody gives a shit. Okay? I don't even know what Steve Cutler is or who he is or why he's being showcased on television. He's got a huge fucking jaw to the point where I can't stand looking at him, and he looks fucking ridiculous. I don't know where this guy came from. I don't know who he is or why they're pushing this guy, but the guy really is not impressive at all. So, Steve Cutler, I don't know. He's going against Nakamura. He thinks he's going to stand the chance against Nakamura. He did no such thing tonight. Ember Moon versus Leah Vaughn. This was pretty much a showcase for Ember Moon. First showcase for Ember Moon at Full Sail University, 2 minutes and 45 seconds, with the lunar eclipse, or the total eclipse, whatever they're calling it. They're just calling it the eclipse. I think it needs a lunar eclipse or a total eclipse in front of that word eclipse, but regardless of what you call it, it's fucking unbelievable. Ember Moon quickly is becoming my favorite female on the entire roster that includes Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. She is absolutely fucking amazing. She defeats Leah Vaughn at 2 minutes and 45 seconds. And for someone the size of Ember Moon, who can move like that, it's even all the more impressive, man. The flips that she does, the athleticism that she has in the ring, fucking unbelievable. I can't wait to see what happens as Ember Moon ascends the ranks in NXT. And Asuka was asked, do you think that there's anybody who can challenge you for the NXT Women's Championship? She said, nobody can challenge me for the NXT Women's Championship. I'll tell you what, Ember Moon quickly will throw her name into the hat to challenge Asuka for the NXT Women's Championship. And when that does happen, we will all be in for a treat. Can't wait to see that happen. No Way Jose appreciated Bobby Roode's fashion sense and isn't changing for anyone. So, obviously, they are headed for a showdown next week. It's going to be No Way Jose versus the glorious one, Bobby Roode. Can't wait to see him on NXT television. Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa will get a match at the Cruiserweight Classic final live in front of Full Sail University. If they win, they might get a tag team title shot against the Revival. Their opponents are yet to be named, so it's going to be interesting to see how they fare at the Cruiserweight Classic live special next week on Wednesday. Austin Aries versus Andrade Cien Almas. I'll tell you one thing, man. Almas still not over with the crowd, but he did change his appearance to come out tonight against Austin Aries. He's no longer looking like a Chippendales dancer. He's no longer looking like Mr. Strippogram about to go to a bachelorette party and pop out of a fucking cake. But Andrade Cien Almas came out dressed in his own t-shirt with no hat either. So he shed the stripper gimmick and the top hat, and he comes out even looking more generic than he did before. Unbelievable. Other than that, Austin Aries, the greatest man that has ever lived, beats him tonight, beats Andrade Cien Almas with a last chancery to Almas at 11 minutes and 48 seconds. And it sucks, man, because Andrade Cien Almas has all the talent in the world in the ring. He's great in the ring. And I even proposed the idea, listen, if you're not doing anything with him at Full Sail University, if you're not doing anything with him in NXT, you know, put the mask back on him. La Sombra, right? Before he came into NXT. Give him his old gimmick back, put him in the Cruiserweight division. Seriously, you know? It could be on either Raw or SmackDown. Reportedly, rumors going around that SmackDown's going to get their own Cruiserweight division. Why not put him on SmackDown? You know? WWE has always been about SmackDown and that Latin influence. They want someone with that Latin influence. He could be perfect for SmackDown if they do get a Cruiserweight division. And he's got the weight limit, right? He's got the moveset. He's got the high-flying moveset. People might appreciate him more if he's actually given something of importance to do. And it sucks because he's got talent. It's just the fact that nobody cares. And WWE really hasn't done anything to help his cause or help him get known better with the WWE NXT universe. They just don't care, you know? And it's going on a couple of months now, and people still do not care about what Almas is trying to get across as a character on NXT. Austin Aries, on the other hand, great at what he does. He's headed for a showdown against Hideo Itami. And it's nice that Austin Aries is getting wins under his belt, but this is all going to pale in comparison to what happens when he finally meets Hideo Itami. They're making Austin Aries look good, but again, in a big match situation, they're setting him up for a few wins now. But when he gets to Itami, ultimately he's going to fall. They're not going to make Itami lose, being that he's the comeback story, and more than likely Itami's going to be catapulted into the NXT title talk later on in the year into 2017. So I don't see Austin Aries coming out of this as a winner in the end, but it's nice to see him get a few big wins on NXT television. He beats Andrade Cien Almas with the last chancery, 11 minutes and 48 seconds. Finally, the main event was a complete squash. Kinshasa to Steve Cutler by Shinsuke Nakamura. Non-title match with Samoa Joe on commentary. Started really slow. Nakamura was pretty much toying with him, and then obviously knee after knee, kick after kick, and then obviously the exploder suplex leading into the Kinshasa at 3 minutes and 21 seconds. Steve Cutler did not stand a chance. Joe was very humbled on the microphone, unlike we've ever seen before. He was like, Nakamura deserved it. Nakamura is unlike anybody I've been in the ring with. I respect the guy. And then at the end of the match, Nakamura was pretty much eyeing Samoa Joe from in the ring as he sat at the announce desk holding and draping the title over his shoulder, and Samoa Joe gets up from the commentary table and walks to the back away from the ringside area. And that was your NXT show for this week, September 7th, 2016. Now, the Cruiserweight Classic, we had two matches tonight, and it sucks that it's ending, man. It was so great tonight, again, just like every other week that we've seen. And the matches that we've seen tonight, it was Zack Sabre Jr. versus Noam Dar, who I still haven't seen this explosive Noam Dar that everybody's talking about. And we had TJ Perkins versus Rich Swan. And the first match that happened tonight was Zack Sabre Jr. versus Noam Dar. This match went 15 minutes and 48 seconds. The main thing here I want to point out is everybody's telling me, JD, Noam Dar is a beast. Noam Dar is going to be fucking something special. I believe you guys, and I've been saying this for a few weeks now. Tonight's the first night that I actually somewhat, just a little bit, understood what you guys were talking about. Noam Dar did something differently tonight than he did in the previous times that we've seen him for the Cruiserweight Classic. He was a little bit more aggressive. It's amazing what a little bit of aggression and a little bit of brutality does to a guy's character and a guy's mentality when he's in the ring. Today we've seen a little bit of a difference in Noam Dar compared to what we've seen in the previous weeks. Today was Noam Dar, pretty much in there, you know what, I need to win this match. He was showing you that there was a sense of urgency. That he knew he was in there with Zack Sabre Jr., and he knew that he was in there with a guy who they call the fucking technical magician, or whatever the fuck they call him, man. The guy's a fucking wizard. The technical wizard, Guy's a fucking submission specialist. Unlike anything we've seen since the days of Dean Malenko. The guy's fucking unbelievable, Noam Dar knew who he was in there with, and Ronaldo and Daniel Bryan played up the fact that they were very, very familiar with one another. They knew each other very, very well going on into this match. And the entire match was built around the urgency of Noam Dar and Zack Sabre Jr. trying to do what he does best. But the match was pretty much built around two instances. It was Zack Sabre Jr.'s legs and Noam Dar's arms. Those were the two focal points of this match. Sabre Jr. was trying to attack Noam Dar's arms, while Dar was trying to attack Zack Sabre Jr.'s legs. They were trying to pretty much tell that story throughout the entire 15 minutes of this match. In the end, Zack Sabre Jr. wins this match with a Rings of Saturn. It was one of the nastiest fucking submissions I have ever seen. I mean, I was fucking grimacing in pain for Noam Dar when I seen this move applied. I think I would have tapped before he even applied the fucking move on me. The fact that Noam Dar had the move applied and it looked like his fucking arm was about to pop out of its socket and his shoulder was about to shatter into 1,000 fucking pieces, it was unbelievable. I cringed at the fact that Zack Sabre Jr. applying this move to Noam Dar, man. A bunch of stomps to the arm had Zack Sabre Jr. in trouble, but he pulls Dar down and puts him in the Rings of Saturn with his legs, bending Dar's arm so far back that, again, I screamed in pain for Noam Dar, man. 15 minutes and 48 seconds. Zack Sabre Jr. and his technical fucking wizardry is going to the semifinals, and he's going to go one-on-one with, I believe, who is he going up against? Gran Metalik. He's going one-on-one with Gran Metalik. That is going to be a match of two polar opposites in styles. Gran Metalik, the fucking guy who is the ballerina dancer on the ropes, man. The fucking guy who is a wizard on the ropes. High flying. If you need to do ground-based as well, he can fucking do ground-based as well. But Zack Sabre Jr., man, he is one-dimensional. Is he going to ground Gran Metalik, and is he going to ground the high flyer? It's going to be unbelievable to see, man. Two different styles. Two styles that I'm very intrigued by to see how they clash together in the semifinals. Who's going to go on to the finals of the Cruiserweight Classic? If I have to choose one right now, I honestly am going to go with Zack Sabre Jr. I think Zack Sabre Jr. is going to pull out a victory over Gran Metalik. I think the technical wizardry of Zack Sabre Jr. is going to be too much for Gran Metalik, and I think this is what the WWE has wanted since the start of this tournament. Zack Sabre Jr. might not be signing with the company right now due to prior obligations and prior wishes that he wants to take care of a few things where he is right now. He wants to accomplish a few things before he sets his eyes on the grander stage of WWE. Or he may think that he's even bigger than the Cruiserweight division and he doesn't want to be delegated to only the Cruiserweight division on Monday Night Raw or Tuesday Night Smackdown. I don't know what Zack Sabre Jr.'s mentality is going into this, but I do honestly think that WWE, given the fact that they do want Zack Sabre Jr. under their umbrella, they do want him in the Cruiserweight division, I think they're going to push him to the finals, and I honestly think it's going to be Sabre Jr. versus Kota Ibushi in the finals. I think that's what a lot of people had predicted before this tournament, and I think that's exactly what we're going to get in the finals next week of the Live Cruiserweight Classic Special. Zack Sabre Jr. makes everybody fucking cringe with the Rings of Saturn as he beats Noam Dar. Noam Dar looked decent tonight, just a little bit. Still, I don't understand what Noam Dar is or who he is or why people have just spoken so highly of him. He showed me a little bit tonight, but not enough to get on board with what you guys are saying. He loses. Zack Sabre Jr. advances semifinals live next week as he goes up against Gran Metalik. The other match tonight that we seen, which was the main event, TJ Perkins versus Rich Swan, man. This was a tough one to call, and I'm glad that they gave these guys all the time in the world to showcase what they got, man. I love Rich Swan. I think Rich Swan is fucking amazing, man. His attitude and his lightheartedness and his outgoing personality is infectious. And I was saying this to myself as I was watching the Cruiserweight Classic. And his dancing and his attitude and the crowd chanting along with his theme music and the crowd singing along after the bell has rung to Rich Swan's theme music, it's all infectious, man. And it makes for a great environment. TJ Perkins is one of those guys that can literally do it all. You want to fly? Perkins will fly. You want to fucking do ground-based? TJ Perkins will fucking wrestle you and go hold to hold with you. He's fucking unbelievable. Multi-dimensional cruiserweight. One in which I think is going to thrive greatly on Monday Night Raw. So is Rich Swan. This is not the last we've seen of these two because both men will be headed to Monday Night Raw for the Cruiserweight division starting in 2 weeks. This is the Philippines versus America. And the match started out with them pretty much as equals. Rich Swan was dancing. TJ Perkins was trying to pretty much get underneath the skin of Rich Swan. And Rich Swan actually did that to TJ Perkins as he was pretty much mimicking and dancing in front of TJ Perkins after every athletic maneuver that they strung together. So all it took was one dab from Rich Swan, and TJ Perkins and Rich Swan found each other in an urgency unlike I've seen from both men in the tournament, man. It got serious real quick after they started dabbing. There was no more dabbing after that. All it took was one moonsault on the outside, and the story, again, just like Zack Sabre Jr. with his legs, the story in this match was TJ Perkins and Rich Swan pretty much battling it out, toe-to-toe, hard-hitting match, and it all relied on the legs of Rich Swan. And the story that was played was Rich Swan's offense wasn't as impactful as it usually is because one of his legs is completely out of commission. His knee buckled, supposedly, his knee buckled on an attempted moonsault from the ring apron to the outside. And Daniel Bryan and Mauro Ranallo played up the fact that a lot of Rich Swan's offense wasn't connecting as well as it should. Rich Swan pretty much had to pull out moves that he's not used to doing, such as the Michinoku driver. He had to do more power-based moves, more ground-based moves, instead of showing us how high he can fly with moonsaults and dives and fucking Phoenix splashes and Hurricane Ranas. He had to ground himself because he physically could not stand on his legs. Even something like a bridging pinfall was too much for Rich Swan to do because he couldn't hold himself up on his legs. His legs were just completely out of commission due to that moonsault in which his leg buckled on the outside. So, in the end of this match, the leg came into play, and TJ Perkins exploited that hurt leg by Rich Swan. In the end, it was a knee bar, just like he finished off his last match. TJ Perkins, he finished off Johnny Gargano with the knee bar. This week, much of the same. TJ Perkins makes Rich Swan tap with the knee bar, and the leg came into play, and the leg was the downfall of Rich Swan's defeat in the quarterfinals of the Cruiserweight Classic. This was not the match we expected it to be, man. I like that. You know, going into this with Rich Swan and TJ Perkins, we all expected a high-flying fucking aerial assault all over the place that was going to pretty much light the Full Sail University crowd on fire. This was more of a ground-based actioned match, kicks, not really all that much high-flying going on, because they wanted to tell a story. I'm pretty much thinking that they're saving the high-flying for Kota Ibushi and TJ Perkins next week, which is going to be fucking amazing. TJ Perkins has been one of my favorites in this tournament. Now he's going against Kota Ibushi live. This is going to be unbelievable, man. It's going to be a show you cannot miss. Kota Ibushi is going to come out on top. He is going to be in the finals. It's going to be Ibushi versus Zack Sabre Jr., and Kota Ibushi is going to win the Cruiserweight Classic for 2016. I can't wait for next week, man. They're really fucking making this very, very special. This entire tournament has been very, very special. And what a match these two had, man. Perkins wins with the knee bar. After the match, Perkins immediately checks on Rich Swan to show respect for what had happened during the match, almost as if he did not want to make Rich Swan tap with the knee bar. He was more concerned about Rich Swan's health and well-being after the bell rung than him celebrating his victory as he moves on to fight Kota Ibushi in the semifinals of the Cruiserweight Classic. All in all, man, great show, great action. We've seen some ground-based action in the Zack Sabre Jr. match with Noam Dar. Technical masterpiece there. Even with TJ Perkins and Rich Swan, it was unlike anything we've seen from these two men. High flyers, they were both ground-based. I like that. Something out of their element, and a great story was told tonight as we head to the live classic, Cruiserweight Classic special next week, man. It's going to be unbelievable. I can't wait. I will be right here for you guys reviewing it all. 2-hour special next week. Do not miss it. Kota Ibushi versus TJ Perkins and Zack Sabre Jr. versus Gran Metalik round out the Cruiserweight Classic for 2016, plus a tag team match with Gargano and Ciampa versus opponents to be named, man. Until then, I'm JD. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. If you guys enjoyed it, please hit that thumbs up. Check everything you need that I posted this week down in the description below, and I will be back on Friday with Off The Script, episode 134, a 1-hour special talking about Backlash and Cesaro leaving the WWE. Until then, I'm JD. Hit that thumbs up, and I'll see you guys on Friday for Off The Script. Talk to you later.